The joy and good fortune of having met a master of the bow. Yes, a master, a true master.
Great teacher, he called professor. In Italy, Donato, but like Olivier. He followed the same path, deeply drawn to wood, to the natural world, to everything it can offer. He taught me how to build in an exceptional way.
A great craftsman, to introduce improvements in what has been the evolution, the small possible evolutions in the semi-longbow of Howard Hill or Schultz. Howard with his thesis on John Schultz, and John Schultz with his on Jean Marie. He led me down the same path. He always specified that it is an American semi-longbow because he was the first inventor of the laminated multi-layer longbow. Looking at woods such as yew and all the precious woods, which unfortunately are becoming increasingly rare and hard to find, they cannot be cut unless a woodcutter happens to come across them. But these woods are very rare, slow growing, and therefore not easily replaceable. The semi-longbow, precisely for this reason, follows all the canonical dimensions of the longbow. Lengths, thicknesses, maybe not thickness in height, but in width, in the design. He wanted to respect those canons of Jean Marie Coche. One thing that for him was paramount, above all, was precision and safety. Always being careful in every phase of the work, knowing that all work must be done perfectly, because any imperfection can cause damage to the bow and then to the archer. And he never wanted to reach that point. He wanted every archer who used these bows, or the ones he had built, which have traveled the world and still travel the world today. It is extremely rare that they broke or caused physical or even psychological harm, because a bow that breaks or even just cracks is frightening. It can make you lose the desire to use it, and it does not reflect well on a good bow maker. A good bow maker must know how to go beyond the market, profit, and performance. He must know how to sell the know-how. He considered himself a cabinet maker. I consider him an excellent cabinet maker, not only because of his meticulousness in making things. I am glad that even in this, at the beginning, although struggling to understand because it is not easy, sometimes you feel like saying, all right, that's enough. It's good. Number, it's not enough until it's perfect. It's really part of that work. The bow is a tool, it's a spring, and it must be perfect at 100%. If something is missing, give it a final sanding. If there's still something missing, touch it up again. Never stop to say, this will do. This will do was never his rule, and it isn't mine either today. All this work was an immense joy to discover. It is a joy to find a master in any field. Jean Marie Coche lately had dropped the title of master and preferred to be called professor. And in some respects he was right, he truly was a professor. When you meet a teacher who has dedicated his life to a craft, as he did, it is an immense fortune. You go from being, as he himself said, a carpenter to becoming a bow maker, in the true sense of the word, just as Howard Hill was to John Schultz, and as John Schultz was to him, was his true mentor for 5 years in America. And the longbow is the longbow. Why only the American longbow and not the reflex deflex? I also asked him that question when I was in the workshop. Jean-Marie, why don't you make the reflex deflex which everyone is asking for now? And he said, no, speed is not what the longbow is about. The longbow one, Howard wanted to honor, that is the true longbow. Schultz, as a good student, respected that. I, as a good student, continue to carry on this tradition. And as a student of Jean Marie Coche, I can do nothing but continue. as he told me, learn how to build a bow, but build it as God intended, because it is one of the most unique bows. I don't know, I can't find the word. Mystical? It's a strange word, it's atavistic, it's historic in a modern way, but still historic. It's the story of what mankind has been able to discover about a bow. Perhaps it is the oldest bow in the world, built perhaps in the simplest, oldest, and most effective way for what it is capable of. And I don't want to be influenced either. Even today, someone asks me, hey, but do you build? No, I don't do it. I really want to follow this path because this is the right one. And I often wonder, why did Howard continue to shoot only with the longbow, even when reflex, deflex, and recurves were already being made? In his book, he wrote, because the longbow is beautiful, it is manageable. He said, other bows are all somewhat sensitive, very exaggerated. If you compare them to a car, they are like an overtuned Formula One. Not a normal racing car, but Formula One at its extreme. He, on the other hand, liked the racing car simple. Not a base model, not a wreck, it's not true that it's a wreck. On the contrary, it's anything but a wreck, because it allows you to do everything. Jean Marie managed with the longbow, like Howard Hill, to hit coins in flight, rings in flight, to hit them on the rebound. He hit everything he wanted by ricochet. He invented trick shots, avoiding obstacles and still hitting the target. He had two ways of shooting with a bow. They called them do fine, and another in which he rolled the arrows. I saw them. I saw him shoot. He shot with his feet. But he hit the target. It wasn't just for show. We were down that slope, 8 of us shooting at the bear, 6 arrows each, 3 arrows each to the mark in the course. He took each person's arrows. He shot with a longbow that wasn't his, because he never brought his own when teaching. With the other arrows, one for each person, he hit all the centers on that bear. So it's not a matter of heavy arrow or aim. No, it's the archer. A good bow, good arrows, but who shoots is always the archer.